I am so excited to speak to our guest today. She's an injector in the St. Louis area. She's a physician assistant. Please help me to introduce Molly.
Hi, thank you so much. A lot of people call me Bailey actually because of my social media is a little confusing. So you got it right.
Awesome, awesome. Hi, my name is Jonathan McLean, and I'm the founder and CEO of McLean Aesthetics.
Welcome to the dark side.
Let's go. I'm so excited. Let's jump right into the questions.
Okay.
So tell us, Molly, where are you currently located right now?
I am in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm at the Shine Spa. It's actually a newer medical spa that we just opened about 9 weeks ago. We're actually in an area called Clayton in St. Louis. So, yeah, it's been exciting. It's been fun to kind of get the ball rolling at a new place and get up to speed.
Super cool. Now, I am currently located in the South Florida area, which is like the mega hub of aesthetics. Tell us a little bit about how the St. Louis area is.
Yes, it's a little bit smaller. We're definitely not a mega hub yet, but maybe one day we can get it there. But yeah, St. Louis, it's a smaller city, but we definitely have a lot of aesthetics. We have a lot of new practices opening, and I mean, aesthetics is popular everywhere. So there's definitely there's a need for it wherever you are. But yeah, St. Louis, we're definitely growing, we're getting bigger, but we're not quite Miami or in LA or one of those or New York yet.
Super cool. I know you guys probably have your niche though. Every city has their niche though, seriously.
For sure, yes.
So let's go all the way back. Let's rewind back to the beginning. How did you get in aesthetics and what made you want to get in such a, like I say, I like to call it crazy industry?
Yeah. So I kind of fell into it. It's a serendipitous sort of thing that happened. But I had finished college and I knew I was going to go to PA school, but I hadn't applied yet. And I needed clinical hours to apply to PA school. So I was working nights in the emergency room as a tech to get those hours. And I was learning a lot and I knew it was a means to an end, but I knew that really wasn't the field that I wanted to be in long term. So I went on Craigslist of all things. This was 2012. And I was searching just for any job I could find that I could get some clinical hours. And a local plastic surgeon needed a medical assistant. His medical assistant was going on maternity leave. So it was kind of a short-term stint. And they needed someone to do basically what I was doing in the ER, but in a plastics office. So I got the job and I completely fell in love with it. I just loved everything about it. It was so different from what I'd been doing. And it ended up being a longer term thing. I went to PA school and I actually came back and worked with that same plastic surgeon. And he kind of taught me everything I needed to know to be an injector. So I got very lucky because sometimes it's hard to get into, but once you're in, you're kind of in. So that was the short version of a long story.
That's super cool. And I always like to ask that question because usually people have two responses. Either they have like a deep reason, like they suffered from acne when they were younger,
Wow.
or they just genuinely just fell into it. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm here now. That's super, super cool.
Yeah.
So new injectors contact me all the time, and a lot of them give up hope because, as you just said, it's really hard to get in. What is
Yeah.
some advice you can give to a new injector trying to enter this industry?
Yeah. So yeah, it can be really difficult, but I get that inquiry a lot too, just like through social media, like how did you become an injector or how do I get started? And I just tell people to reach out to everyone. There's such a great network of injectors, especially on social media now, that didn't exist when I was starting out. But now there's really this great community online that I think anyone can really take advantage of it. So reach out to people. If there's people that you follow that you like or you like their aesthetic, even local practices, write emails, make phone calls, just get your feet wet, get in anywhere, even if it's just shadowing. Because some people do, I think, oh, that's such a glamorous industry, and it is, but there's also a lot of other kind of things that go along with it. So just shadow, try and get in anywhere you can, and just even just see if you like it. Because I feel like sometimes people, they have an idea and maybe it doesn't, once they're really in it, it doesn't really fit that idea that they thought it was. So just get your feet wet, get in there, contact people, shadow as much as you can. And all it takes is that one little in, or one person to kind of say, oh, you've got something here, let's follow this through, or come back the next day and watch a surgery or whatever it may be. But reach out, because people want to help, and injectors want to train other injectors and teach other people. So just kind of reach out as much as you can, and just spread your network out, and talk to as many people as you can, because you never know, one of them may be that person that'll kind of take you in and help you out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Network, 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 and
Yes,
just taking the time to go into those offices, present yourself, or like you
totally.
said, connecting with other injectors in your area.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you just show people that you're interested in what they're doing, everyone I've met, they're happy to kind of tell you what they do, or give you a trick or a tip. Or so just talking and putting yourself out there, and people will definitely respond to that, and they'll enjoy kind of helping someone else along too.
What are some of the differences or some of the noticeable changes that you've noticed since you've been practicing to now?
Mhm. Um, Gosh, I mean, that's what's kind of fun about this industry to me, is that it's always changing and there's always new things to learn. I feel like every year, everything really gets better. Even just like injectables, they last longer. Now we might have like a very long lasting Botox or whatever it may be. So, yeah, I think it's always changing, and that's what can be exciting to be in this field, is that there's always something kind of new to learn. I think the biggest thing for me that's really changed since I started is social media, and how that's really, oh, sorry, how that's really starting to kind of drive the industry. Because I mean, like 10 years ago when I was starting, no one really had an Instagram page. So it was hard to even kind of see into the industry, or to see what was happening on a daily basis, or what it was like to be an injector. So now that's kind of, it's part of, I feel like part of my job is the social media part, and then also the actual injecting and going to work every day.
Yeah, it's like a full-time job on
Yeah.
top of a full-time job.
Yeah, totally. Now you have two jobs. You're a marketer and an injector.
Seriously, and that's what they don't teach you in school about that sales
No.
part, about that marketing part. How essential is that? You think it's like you have to have a social media to succeed in this industry?
I mean, it's kind of getting, and I don't want to say that's what something you have to do, because there's so many incredible injectors that maybe don't put as much time or effort into a social media page, and they're doing just fine. But I do think as we kind of get further along, it's definitely part of the job, and part of being an injector is marketing yourself, and kind of taking maybe what was one time a portfolio, just a book of your client photos. Now we're kind of translating that into social media. So it's definitely something that's valuable to learn, and kind of to use for your own practice. So yeah, I definitely think it's driving a lot of the industry now.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's like your billboard or your magazine, like you said, or your portfolio nowadays,
Yeah.
things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be hard too, but there's lots of good resources too to kind of help people if social media is a little bit newer or a little bit more challenging. But yeah, it's definitely a valuable tool to kind of get your name out there.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I'm glad you brought that up also, because I speak to a lot of like younger injectors and older injectors that haven't even started at Instagram and they don't know where the first step to start. What could be
Yeah.
some resources or some things that they can help them out along the way?
Yeah, so I mean, I was one of those injectors. I really didn't focus on my social media page until probably like maybe a year ago. So for a long time, I was just kind of doing my own thing. I didn't really put myself out there. I didn't post anything with clients, any photos. But really, yeah, there's a strong community. So I feel like the way that helped me kind of get it going and get started is just following accounts that I aspire to be like, or injectors that I think are really cool or doing something interesting. Just follow their accounts and just see what are they posting every day? How are they managing things? And just copy. It's really just kind of taking things you like and just copy it, try it, and you can shout them out. You can link to them or say thanks for the inspo or whatever it is, but just kind of find things that you like and that are cool on Instagram that you're following and just copy it, and you'll learn. And every day you kind of, the more you get going with it, you learn how to do it. But yeah, sometimes the hardest part is just starting.
And I agree with you. Like a great mentor once told me, like the process is already out there. Just look it up and follow the guidelines, and you'll get it.
Totally. Yep. It's all there. Just copy.
We learn from each other for sure.
Yes, that's right.
How do you get that? Like, I know being on social media, running, definitely injecting every day, doing all those things can be very time consuming. They can be very stressful. How do you kind of get that work-life balance and don't burn out?
Yeah, it's hard. That's probably the most challenging part for me. I have two young daughters. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So kind of managing being a mom and then doing this whole separate part of my life and having a career is very, very tricky. But I feel like you find time for things that you like, and if you're passionate about something, you'll find the time to do it. So I mean, I've even been doing like social media stuff. I'll wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and have an idea and just kind of do it then. It's quiet time, my kids are sleeping. So I feel like you just kind of make time for things that you love and things that you want to do. But yeah, it can be really challenging to kind of balance all of that and make sure that you're home and you're also kind of pursuing your dreams too.
Do you do any activities outside of work to kind of balance that stress or?
Yeah, so I mean, right now I inject 3 days a week. So I make sure that the 2 days that I'm home, I'm really kind of focusing on home and trying to keep those two things separate. So when I'm at home, I try, but it doesn't always happen, but not to be on my phone as much or not be doing social media when I'm with my daughters. And then when I'm at work, really using that time well and being smart about it and kind of trying to get everything that for my professional life done on the days that I'm working and being a mom on the days that I'm not.
Okay, definitely, definitely. And I can understand how that works perfectly because you block your time off.
Right. Yep. You just make time, and if something's important to you, then you find the time to do it. But like I mean, some days I'll close my schedule if my daughter has a field trip or somewhere to be so that I'm still prioritizing being a mom, but also making sure that I'm kind of keeping my foot in the door.
For someone new or someone that's switching out from like emergency medicine at a hospital or someone that's coming into this industry, what are some benefits that they can expect to gain by working in this industry? And what are some cons or some less valuable things? I mean, less things that they might fear?
Yeah. So I mean, with every industry, there's really great things, and then there's stuff that obviously you wish you could kind of change. But I think a really nice thing about, at least for me, about being an injector is that I have a little bit more control over my schedule. So it is easier for me to balance being a mom and being an injector because I can kind of make my own schedule. And I think that's a little bit easier when you're in aesthetics. You can kind of have a little bit more control over your schedule, even if you aren't the owner of your own med spa. A lot of injectors can kind of pick days. I don't really see it as like a side hustle, like a lot of people are saying, because I do think it's a field of medicine like anything else, and you have to really be committed to it. So I don't think it's beneficial sometimes to have it be like your hobby. It really, you'll do better if that's your main focus. But you can kind of balance things a little easier when you can set your own schedule. I think the cons are like any like any field of medicine. Sometimes you'll meet people that it can be a little challenging to kind of tease out. There's a lot of like, especially these days, like body dysmorphia and kind of mental things that go along with wanting to change your appearance. So that can always be a little bit tricky and kind of a learning curve to learn how you kind of deal with more difficult patients and or how you deal with people that maybe shouldn't be getting treatments done, or maybe they need to work on like mental health before they work on their appearance. So that can be a little bit challenging, but I mean, for the most part, it's an exciting field, and it's definitely one I would recommend trying out.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned the side hustle thing, because a lot of people do think, I get some calls and people are like, oh, maybe I can do it one day a week, or maybe I can do it when I have free time. I'm like, no, you have to put a lot of effort and training, and it's a
Oh my
lot.
gosh, yes, it's a lot. And to be a great injector, you really, that has to be your main focus, because I mean, there you have to be constantly training, constantly learning, trying to keep up with the cutting edge things, how to be the safest injector that you can be, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So yeah, it's not really one of those things I see as like a side hustle or a hobby. It's got to be your main focus if you really want to give your best to your patients.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, I want to go back into the mental health that you just mentioned. If you have a patient that comes in and maybe they are exhibiting signs of body dysmorphia, or you just feel you're not comfortable with treating them, how do you go about that, and how do you handle those type of situations?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the trickiest parts of being an injector, because not everyone is a good candidate, and they may think because they see, oh, everybody's getting it, or all the celebrities are doing it, or whatever, so I can do it too. And it's not always an appropriate thing for everyone. So yeah, that can be a really challenging and difficult conversation, but a lot of times I just kind of we kind of tease it out. We talk. That's why it's really important to start with a consultation. I'm really big on having someone come in, and the first time I meet them, maybe we won't do any treatments. Maybe it's just talking the first time and kind of teasing out what you want to do, or what your goals are, or how you want to look. And if there's some red flags in there, then maybe kind of figuring out a better way to treat those. And it might not be injectables that's the best treatment. Maybe they need to do some counseling, or I mean, just anything to make them feel better. Maybe just joining a gym or doing something that's going to make them feel better about themselves before we dive into injectables or aesthetic treatments. But yeah, just really kind of taking the time with every person that comes in. It's a good way to build a relationship where they can trust you and know that you're going to give them good advice and good guidance. And sometimes the answer is no, maybe, or if they're coming back in again for more lip filler or whatever, and you think, well, their lips are filled, then telling someone no can be really difficult, but it's also a really important part of being a good injector, is kind of cutting people off when maybe they are not seeing what others are seeing anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that too, because I've been to some med spas behind the scenes, like book, 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 book.
Mhm, mhm.
But what you're saying is so important. Taking the time to actually have a conversation to see, is this somebody I want to actually perform my services on?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Am I the right injector for you, and are you the right client for me? Does our aesthetic fit? Because a lot of people, what maybe looks good to me might not look good to someone else. Or I tend to be a little bit more on the conservative side of things, so I'm not going to pump your lips full with filler and kind of make you look, in my eyes, make it look ridiculous. If that's not your aesthetic, then maybe I'm not the person you should see. And there's other injectors that will do that for you. But yeah, it's just kind of, it's building a relationship and building trust with someone that's going to be treating you for a long period of time.
For sure, for sure. How big is community in your industry? How big is it to know other injectors in your community?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's such a great community out there. And that's been a big thing lately too, like community over competition, because there's a lot of new injectors and a lot of people kind of trying out the field, but we are all a big community and there's such a great network out there. And everyone, like I said before, everyone's very willing to help and to offer guidance and things like that. So I think it's really important as an injector to at least have a couple people that either you kind of look up to or that you can go to if you need advice or help with something. But yeah, the network and the community, it's there. And if you kind of can tap into it, and it's easy to do, I mean, just reach out to people. But yeah, it's a really big part of being an injector, and it's important to kind of have those people that you can lean on and trust for advice and kind of guide you in the right direction.
What trends are you seeing right now from your clientele in the St. Louis area?
Yeah. I mean, so I kind of try and stay away from the trendy stuff. I always tell my clients, you don't want a trendy face. You want to just enhance the beauty that you already have. But yeah, there's definitely with social media and with Hollywood and stuff, people are kind of following the trends. I mean, my big thing lately that I'm really starting to kind of get into is threads, which is a little bit newer in the industry. They've been around for a while, but they're starting to gain more popularity. So I've definitely been doing more of that. And I've also been seeing a lot of younger clients come in and just kind of check out, like, what is a med spa? What do we do here? What are injectables? Do I need to start Botox when I'm 20 or whatever it may be? So definitely the younger generation is getting interested in things and kind of seeing the trends on social media, which is probably good and bad. But yeah, I try to stay away from the trends.
For sure, for sure. Is there ever an age too young to be treated?
I mean, well, yeah, there's kind of a fine line between prevention and starting too early. And that's another, like, a good thing, a conversation to have with a new client if they're really young. But I mean, I kind of see aesthetics as very similar to like getting your hair done or getting your lashes done. There's little things that you can do even in your 20s if you just, maybe there's something that bothers you about yourself, or you have acne scarring, or you're dealing with acne as an adult. There's lots of kind of things that we can do even for young people that can help their confidence, help them feel better about themselves. Obviously, yeah, there's ages where if you don't have any wrinkles, then maybe it's not a great time to start Botox. You can maybe start preventatively if you want to, but it's definitely a conversation I have with younger clients, like when's a good time to start, and it can be different for everybody. So there's not that one year where, oh, you're 22, let's get you in, let's start preventing everything. It's really, are there things that bother you, because we can fix those, or we can make you feel more confident, or we can make you feel more beautiful. But it can be different for every person.
For sure, for sure. Is there like a celebrity look-alike that you get all the time? Like, I want to look like this person the most.
Oh gosh. I don't get it as much. I'm hearing a lot of like Bella Hadid, the Hadid girls with brows. I hear a lot of different stuff with, because I do brow thread lifts. So the like fox eye, or that kind of the new it's another trend with brow lifts. I get a lot of that, and a lot of Kardashian lips, Kylie lips. But I try to tell people, you can bring me photos and bring me photos of celebrities, but I can't make you look like someone else. We'd want to make every person look like the best version of themselves and that their individual beauty. So I kind of take photos with a grain of salt, and like it gives me an idea of what they see as beautiful, but we can never really give someone else a celebrity's face.
For sure. We only can make you look like how you look.
Yeah, exactly. Just a better version.
Yeah. Now, we talked a lot about aesthetic medicine. Let's talk about training. I know training is very important to really keep up to date with everything. How
Yes.
big, how essential is training to aesthetic providers' career? And what trainings would you suggest for newer providers or even experienced providers that are looking to gain more knowledge?
Yeah. So yeah, training, I mean, training's the foundation of everything. It's what's going to keep you cutting edge, but also make sure that you're being as safe as possible. So that's really where I see it. It's a way for me to make sure that I'm using safe practices and not doing anything risky or that's going to kind of put my patients in harm's way. So yes, trainings are essential. And now I feel like we have access to training even more so than we ever did, because now there's really great resources online. And I think maybe COVID kind of helped that too, because a lot of times you'd have to go to a lot of these trainings in person and you'd have to travel and it's a big expense. But now you can do so many things virtually and really learn about stuff and get a good basis of knowledge without having to leave your house. So yeah, I go to lots of trainings. I try to do multiple every year to make sure that I'm keeping up to date with everything. And there's lots of great ones out there. I just came back recently from Aesthetic Next, which I thought was a great one because they have just every great trainer in one room. And there's lots of, if you're in the Texas area, there's lots of hands-on stuff you can do. But yeah, big conferences are great to get kind of an idea of maybe what you like and to meet and to network. And then the smaller ones are good for kind of getting your hands on the actual products or the fillers or whatever it may be. And they're everywhere. They're in every city. So it's not hard to find local trainings and local trainers that will train you. Um, a couple that I like online that you can follow and you can do them like on a daily basis. Erica Berry, she's Injector Bunny on social media. She has an amazing Patreon that I absolutely love because she puts just everything on there. She'll come across stuff every day and just post a quick video. And even as a more seasoned injector, I learn new stuff all the time from her. Aesthetic Immersion's another really good one. They do a lot of virtual trainings too, but you can also do them in person. And Lori Robertson is a great trainer for safety because she's very good with that. And she will make sure that every injector is doing what they need to do to be safe, especially with filler and higher risk procedures. So those are a couple, but I mean, they're everywhere. So the other thing too is when you kind of get into this industry, when you buy a new product or your med spa buys a new product, they will gladly train you. They will send wonderful trainers to your practice. And that's a great way to get more hands-on training because they will come to you. You can pick your models and then you can actually really get hands-on training and have that person there watching you do it and showing you exactly how they do it. So yeah, the resources are definitely there, but for any injector, it should be the foundation of their practice to be very well trained and to keep up with safety practices for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. How important is a great protocol?
Yeah, so I mean, it's essential. We kind of in our practice, we go over it all the time, even though it's something we all know as injectors. Like if you get a vascular occlusion, how are you gonna fix that? How are you gonna do that? So we run drills. We're always and looking for new ways to kind of treat if there's something that someone comes across that, oh, this helped, or we saw vascular occlusion and this helped. So that network's important too, because that can help you if you do have an adverse event. If you have someone that you can call that you know they can guide you through it or they've been through it before, that's always super valuable for that. But yeah, just kind of keeping up to date with everything and reviewing. And even though you may have done it 100 times, you know exactly what to do, but just going through those protocols and making sure that they're up to date is super important, and it can help you feel calm when something happens like that, because it can be stressful. It's an emergency situation sometimes. So being able to kind of keep calm and know you have all these steps in place. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this. It can make you feel more calm in the situation, and also the client that's going through this kind of scary thing, make them feel like I'm in the right spot and they know what they're doing and they can help me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's all, like, I feel like making the client feel so safe is when they return back.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If they feel like they can trust you and they know that if something goes wrong that you'll be there for them, that's huge. That's a really important part of that relationship with a client. And I'll even give my cell phone out sometimes to clients when we're doing higher risk procedures, or if we're doing something even just standard filler. Sometimes I'll give them my cell phone. Call me if this happens or you see this or whatever, call me. I want to know. We want to fix it. We want to help. So yeah, just being available too it can be hard when you're at home. Like maybe you don't want to give out your cell phone, but having some way for the client to reach you later is important in my eyes, because yeah, you want to handle those situations yourself for sure.
Now, with patients, do most of your patients come from like word of mouth or more social media?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's a good mixture, but I would say, yeah, a lot of people come now from social media. It's a great marketing tool just to kind of get your name out there, because there's a lot of injectors in every city. So kind of to stand out now, you have to kind of do something different online. So yeah, I'd say we get a lot online, and we get a lot from like Google reviews. So yeah, just being kind of higher up in the search engines can help kind of bring people to your practice. We're definitely working on that now since our practice is newer. It's important to kind of get good client reviews and kind of stand out from the rest of the practices that are in the area.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with those Google reviews. That's a new
Yeah.
thing. So
Yes. Yeah, it's really important. I tell clients, we have like a sign when they check out, like if you're happy, a Google review is so valuable, or any review for your injector. Any kind of feedback is always valuable to me, because that's what helps me be better.
the best teacher is the people that you serve.
Yes, absolutely.
Who are some great people on social media that the audience can follow to gain more knowledge or to follow their work?
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, Erica Berry, Injector Bunny, she's been a great one for me. She's been a really good mentor for me. So, and her social media is amazing. I love Heather Rippian. She's a really popular Galderma trainer. She's awesome. She's a great person to follow, and to, if you can get a training with her, she's super busy, but she has just so much knowledge, and she's a great teacher. I always like finding people that I think are great teachers and that don't make you feel like stressed out or feel scared when they're training you, because sometimes it can be a little intimidating to have someone watch you doing things. So I always am I gravitate towards trainers that make me feel comfortable and can really teach other people. So those are two. Lori Robertson, like I said, Dr. Kwok, he's Dr. Guns and Needles. He's another, he's a great account, and he does a lot of threads. I'm really into threads right now. So I follow like a lot of thread accounts. Francine, Queen of Threads, she's a good one too. But I mean, there's so many, and they're all wonderful people. If you reach out to them, they will answer you. If you have questions, they will help you with things. So that's super important, to have people like that that are willing to help. And yeah, so those are great. Those are great people that I follow.
Yeah, I love them all, and I will list all of them below so you can guys
Yeah.
check them out. Awesome, they're great people for sure, for sure.
Yes. Awesome.
Well, thank you, Molly, so much for sitting down with me, speaking more about the aesthetic industry. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you got planned next.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I am on Instagram and TikTok. It's Bailey's Botox. That's my last name. So you can find me there, DM me, say hi. I love meeting new people, love chatting and networking. So definitely feel free to follow and say hi to me.
Awesome, awesome. And TikTok is so challenging. Any success in there so far?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew. It's so hard and they really don't translate. Instagram, like what does well on Instagram does not do well on TikTok and vice versa. So I'm still learning all of that too.
Yeah. It's a new site every week, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. And until next time, bye.
Bye. Thank you.